Today on R&R on Sports, Larry and Howard talk all things NBA and the WNBA Finals. Then we are joined by professor and author Dr. Shaun Anderson. All of this and more on this week's episode of R&R on Sports. Now, here are your hosts, Larry Robinson and Howard Robertson.
Hello and welcome to R&R on Sports. I'm Howard Robertson.
I am the great one, Larry Robinson. Man, you got a little articulate. I like the way your enunciation on that. That's
thank
pretty
you.
cool.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I've been practicing. It means all, Larry.
Diction?
It means all the world to me that you appreciate my articulation.
What does that mean?
Don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. What's going on?
Hey, man, it is all good. It is all good in the hood. Man, we got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot going on in sports. You watching WNBA? Finals.
Well, wait a minute. What's the young lady's name that's shooting the one-leg three-pointers?
Uh-oh.
She played for the Aces.
Okay.
I mean, she's pulling up off one leg. I mean, she's like running and jumping.
I gotta learn these ladies' names. I watch them.
Wait a minute. I crack pot.
You
crack
pot. What did you just say?
I crack pot. Production team, they gonna get us the name.
You said I cracks pot.
No, I ain't said no eyes crack nothing. But no, it's a young lady that played for the Aces, man. And this young lady is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anybody on the pro side or the NBA side or the WNBA.
She's shooting a jumper off of one leg.
She's shooting
Is
a
she
jumper.
Falling back? She's doing like we used to do in the driveway.
She's running in and just shooting with one leg, like off one leg. She ain't setting and shooting.
Okay.
She's like coming off.
She's shooting threes?
Yeah, she's coming off picks, shooting. I mean, she's really fun to watch. She reminds me of the way James Harden used to play at Houston.
All right, y'all find us a name.
Yeah, give us a name
in the control room.
Yeah.
Find us a name.
The Aces. Yeah, she's leading scorer for the Aces. She's
already told America he cracks pot. So so WNBA Finals going on.
Yeah.
Baseball playoffs are going on.
Baseball's going
Man,
on.
are you watching any of that? See, you.
What you talking
you
about?
Cannot be.
What you talking
you
about?
Cannot. You got to watch some baseball, man. You got inside you.
I'm watching Dion.
Baseball.
I'm watching Dion, man.
He's a baseball player.
I'm watching Dion. I'm watching Grown, which is Shador. Well, you know I'm not watching Travis or the other Shiloh.
When's Travis gonna be back?
They think they's coming back this week. I think he's coming back this week. They said he's looking really good. He's
good.
Getting his health back. But one thing I did see, and maybe leave it out but Travis Hunter and the young man that hurt him for Colorado State.
Wow. They got together?
They got together, hung out a little bit, and seemed to kind of bury the hatchet. I really appreciate that.
That's good. That's good.
Now, there was a question.
That's character
Very
on
much
this
so.
other guy's part because
Absolutely.
It was blatant and it was dirty.
Yeah.
No question.
But nevertheless, so what I'm looking at across the board, I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this situation at Colorado is sustainable with Deion Sanders?
Yeah.
Really? Why?
As long as he's there, it's sustainable because it's about him. Listen, with what's going on now, maybe at another time and at another point of a previous point in history, it wouldn't matter as much. But now with NIL, now with transfer portal, now with all of the options and opportunities that young college and high school players have, yes, he can sustain it because the best and the brightest and the fastest will come by him first. He will have his pick because not everybody, but most of them will want to play for him.
Everybody likes that energy too. I mean, he's literally got all of Hollywood, all professional sports, all the, all of those guys.
Plus, he's the kind of coach, I mean, he's got you. He has got you. He is in full support of his players. And I'm not saying he's not hard. He probably is very, very hard and whatnot.
And he's got a pro coaching staff.
Warren
Sapp talking about he's going to be on the staff next year. So if I'm a defensive lineman, I mean, who else would I rather be trained by?
I mean, you're a father. You got 2 sons. You got 3 sons. If one of your boys played football, high school and whatnot, or was somewhere else at somebody else's college, and Colorado with Coach Prime was interested in him, would you be interested and have your son be interested in them?
Absolutely. I like what he stands for.
I rest my case.
All right.
You are listening to
the greatest show in the world. The greatest.
I like that.
The greatest show in the world.
Greatest damn show ever. On radio.
There you go.
All right. R&R on Sports. We will be back for more.
Did you say R&R?
R&R on Sports. And this is the name of that show.
You lost your articulation and enunciation.
I'm from South Memphis, brother. I can't keep it always.
Riffin' on jazz.
But she was a sheriff's deputy.
Where?
In Detroit.
In Detroit. Oh, my God. You can't be no punk for that.
And ended up playing a flute.
Riffin' on jazz. On the Kazookian Network.
A Little R&R on Sports presents another edition of Fly on the Wall. This week, listen in as Curtis Jackson III, a.k.a. 50 Cent, is summoned by his grandfather to explain his performance in throwing out the worst first pitch of all time at the Mets game. And now, you become a fly on the wall.
Come on in here, Curtis.
My name's Fitty. Fitty, I keep telling you that.
Your name is Curtis Jackson III. But from the way you threw that ball, everybody's calling you pitch like a bitch.
Fitty a baller. But he don't care about no baseball. Acting, rapping, business. Fitty got mad skill.
Now, I can't go to the barber shop or to the tavern or to have a beer without somebody laughing and asking, Curtis, how come you didn't play catch with that boy when he was little? Why can't he throw a ball no better than that? It's embarrassing, Curtis. It's just damn embarrassing.
Embarrassing? Embarrassing? Oh, man. Fitty really didn't mean to embarrass you. Like Fitty starring in that new network TV show. Like Fitty starring in movies. Like Fitty being a force in the music industry. Like the little money Fitty made from the vitamin water deal. Fitty sure didn't mean to embarrass his granddaddy because he threw the damn baseball crooked. So I tell you what, take off this suit you got on. Give me them gators you kicking.
What?
Go home, move your stuff out of that big old embarrassing house I bought you.
Huh?
Grandma can stay though. And oh yeah, give me the keys to that whip, G.
You mean my new Mercedes-Benz convertible?
Man, I ain't stutter. You damn Skippy. That's embarrassing too, right?
Well, hold on now, Fitty. Let's not lose our head. Cause I tell you what, Fitty, I don't even like baseball that much.
Now you can get me to sing. I love this song. Cheating in the next room.
Cheating in the next room.
Did you hear the begging in those lyrics?
No, I heard that guitar coming in. That thing was crunk.
Blues in the Basement on the Kazookian Network.
Kazookian.
R&R on Sports.
Welcome back.
Excuse me, Taylor. Excuse me, Taylor.
Is she here?
Let me
Is she here?
let me tell you.
Is she here? Because our ratings.
Beyonce got the best video of all time.
Okay.
The best video of all time. Excuse me, Taylor.
Taylor Swift. Bringing that magic to the NFL.
Hey, what you talking about, man?
And I mean, some people upset with it. I mean, but how do you feel about it?
I feel like, listen, the NFL is about that bread.
Hey, man.
It is so many. Listen, Travis Kelce jersey sales went up like 800%. And viewership of the NFL went up like something ridiculous.
Particularly the Chiefs.
Exactly.
Games. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So listen, man, they in the business of entertainment.
I'm in the marketing business, man. How can I be mad at great marketing?
Right. I would market the heck out. I'd have had her do the halftime show. I swear I would have. I'd have had her do the half. Oh, you coming to this game?
Yeah.
Listen, how much it costs for you to just go down, walk in the middle of the field, sing the national anthem?
Yeah.
I'd have found something for Taylor Swift to do.
Yeah.
Outside of being
hell with that replay. Put Taylor on camera 3. I'm directing. Put Taylor on camera. Did you hear what I said? I don't care about the replay. I know it was a 96-yard run back. Hell with that. Give me Taylor.
Hey, man, they had some research that came out that Taylor Swift and Beyonce are like changing the economic structure of cities when they come.
You know why? When they come in town,
the economic, GDP of a city goes up astronomically. Absolutely. They said she had some kind of impact somewhere along the lines of $4.5 billion for her tour.
I have mixed emotions about that. However,
what do you mean?
My mixed emotions. I'm fine with. I love the fact that they are doing business and they are driving economies and revenues for all concerned. That's fine, but these economies are being driven on a couple of things. One thing is exorbitant
ticket prices,
out of your mind ticket prices that entertainers must charge now because they don't have revenues coming in from airplay royalties like they used to. They literally make pieces of a penny. Right. When their product is played on
YouTube, all the streaming services,
parts of a penny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I look at
and this is how they make their money.
Beyonce was charging somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 a ticket, and I'm saying, who's buying these tickets?
Anybody within that. Anybody that can, and that are within any kind of short, well, it doesn't have to be short, easy drive of the city.
I'm Visa.
They're regional concerts.
I'm Visa. Now. I'm serious. I'm Visa. And I'm saying the only way you can get into this concert is if you use a Visa. And I'm buying out that whole rights. Or I'm American Express and I'm putting a whole package around that. Because, I mean, if you look at this, I mean, there was a guy who said he missed the European leg of the Beyonce tour. And ultimately, he flew to New Orleans. He paid $4,500 to
flight. That was just airfare.
Just to get to go to a Beyonce concert in New Orleans.
Got it.
And I mean, that's not ticket price. That's just the flight.
So it's
just amazing, man.
It's out of sight. So Taylor, and wait a minute. The rest of the story is that it is driving other incomes and costs. Don't think for a moment that professional athletes are not following suit in terms of why, and they just had a thing on 60 Minutes on your boy. On your
Rich
boy,
Paul.
Rich Paul. Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
now he's doing a media tour.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
everywhere now.
Well, he's got a book coming out, so
Okay.
you got to
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
got to
yeah.
do it.
So he's doing
so
it
why
all.
haven't our producers gotten Rich Paul on the show?
I don't know.
Considering.
Well, hell, before they put Rich Paul on the show, why aren't we getting paid like some of these? As many people watch
I think we need to talk to the company, the head of the company.
Who is this? Somebody Kazuki?
Yeah, something like that.
Just name the damn company after weed. Who did that? Who in the hell did that? But anyway, man, I saw Damian Lillard in a Bucks uniform, and something don't look right about that.
Hey, man, I know they feeling right in Milwaukee. They feeling right in Milwaukee, man.
And then I gotta
know
see
Giannis was like, I'm resigning with Milwaukee.
Goodness.
He was like quick, like he was like, well, I have to show. They have to show.
That
me
was
they
a good
serious.
get. That was a great
That
get.
was a great get. I mean,
and Drew
for what they had to give up.
Holiday with the Celtics.
Yeah, now Drew Holiday's with the Celtics.
What do you think about that? Especially now that Marcus Smart is in Memphis.
Well, so they got an upgrade in point guard, in my opinion, because Drew Holiday plays both sides of the court exceptionally well. But what no one is talking about is the fact that their the four is the unicorn, which is Kristaps Porzingis. And I'm saying, wait a minute, you got a 7'6", something like that guy that's playing your four, who's athletic, agile, shoot the three,
agile, mobile, hostile.
Man, so when I look at the Celtics, they may have come up more than anybody else in the NBA. I am looking forward to the Celtics and the Bucks.
I'm going to tell you something now that these young cats that we have long since known in Memphis are playing money ball. They are playing some smart ball and heart ball, smart and heart rhymes, ball too in Memphis. I think that the acquisition by the Memphis Grizzlies of Derrick Rose, D. Rose, and Marcus Smart was damn brilliant.
Okay, why?
I'll tell you why. It is because they needed first one, veteran leadership.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
You got a bunch of young cats running around, talented, exciting as all get out, but not very, very little. They all the same rookies. They all the same young, I should say.
Okay.
And they need leadership. Derrick Rose is a legend in his own time, in their own minds.
Right.
And Marcus Smart is
just a hard-nosed
former
defensive player.
And what's the tagline of the Memphis Grizzlies?
Grit and grind.
Grit and grind, baby. He is it. I think those were brilliant, and they needed and watch him.
But here's my problem with the Grizzlies though, is the fact that they did not really have an upgrade. They didn't have a true upgrade that's going to help them compete with the powers in the West. So you got Phoenix that's loaded for bear. You got Denver that's loaded for bear. You got LA that has probably the deepest bench in the NBA. And then you still have Golden State with the addition of Chris Paul, which also makes it. Now you subtract Jordan Poole, and then you bring in Chris Paul. Now, I think that opens up the door for Klay Thompson to play a little bit more, and hopefully he's more back from his injuries after this offseason. But I don't think the Grizzlies raised their position in the West. And then with the 25 games of Ja Morant being out, I don't see that happening.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think just as the good Lord doesn't give you youth and wisdom all at once, I think now that they have gotten it in, I think they have youth, energy, ability, and they got some wisdom. It's guided on the floor. on the floor.
Yeah,
Not
but
taking
you got-
anything
but see,
away
you got-
from the
you got
coach,
too much
but
power,
on
though.
the floor.
So you got too much power. Like I said, you got Phoenix who brought in Bradley Beal. I mean, you got, in addition to Kevin Durant and Booker. I mean, you got people reloaded. I mean, no one stayed pat.
But
Outside of the Grizzlies, neither one, Derrick Rose nor Marcus Smart.
But then it comes, you know what it comes down to? It comes down to chemistry. What you majored in. It comes down to chemistry. And I'm saying that I believe the Grizzlies' chemistry is going to be right, and I believe they're going to be able to hold their own against the likes of the ones that are loaded. Phoenix is loaded. Denver is loaded. Numbers of others are.
Okay. So who, just quickly.
Yeah.
Who you got in the finals looking June?
I can't look that. I don't know. In the NBA?
Yeah.
I can't.
All right. NFL.
I can't even say it in the NFL. But I can tell you somebody that's first of all, the 49ers are 49ers are so strong it ain't funny. And you see the cap I got on?
Detroit.
Damn,
take
Skippy.
that damn head off.
So
I'm here. So
wait a
I'm
minute.
gonna real quick.
Wait a minute. Who's your team? 9 times out of 10,
I'm gonna go.
the Lions done beat them already.
I'm gonna go Philly.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna see 49ers.
Philly and 49ers.
I see, but they both in the NFC.
They're going to cancel each other.
Yeah, but I say one of the two is going to be there. And then on the other side, I got to go with Baltimore. They're going to get it together.
You got to go to Baltimore.
I'm going to Baltimore.
You ain't going with Kansas City?
No, I'm not going to go with Kansas City.
How can you not go with Kansas City?
They lost too much. They lost too much in their offseason. Whenever you have that kind of success.
But they just happen to be, what are they, 4-5-0?
Something like that, yeah. But I still, I'm going to go with Baltimore because I can see them ascending. I like OBJ.
Go Lions.
Listen, man, we got an amazing guest. Listen, y'all stay right there. This is R&R on Sports. We right back.
What network is it on? You got to say that.
That's Kazuki.
Hey, I'm skipping. Named after the weed.
Kazukian. The company is based in Memphis, but it is international.
A new building, an expanded team, new equipment, a new studio, all inside of 7 years.
The resources that we were able to utilize with Kazukian and their team has been incredible. And our partners at Kazukian has been a large part of our success.
One, it's Black owned. So we get to tell our own stories in our own way.
With social media and the technology we have today, the world is listening.
Kazukian. Check out all your Kazukian favorites now. Download the Kazukian app, available on Android and iOS.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports. We are thrilled, as always, to bring you only the best talent, only the most unique and fantastic people that have perspectives on sports that perhaps you hadn't heard before. Today's no different, and we are proud to bring to you Dr. Shaun Anderson. He is department chair and award-winning associate professor of organizational communication and business ethics for Loyola Marymount University. Dr. Shaun, welcome to R&R on Sports.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Now, we like to start out with a brief synopsis. Now, we know that being the learned man that you are, the accomplished academician that you are, that you never, ever used any of these things called cliff notes that they used to make, that you didn't have to read the book and you could do the book report. You thought you could do the book report based on what you read, but we're going to ask you to give us the Cliff Notes version of a stellar career that you have had, and we got a lot to talk about. So go ahead.
All right, y'all, I appreciate it. I'm gonna work those Cliff Notes, right? So born and raised in Arkansas, small town city called Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Yeah. So anything about the South, sports is the way out, right? In many cases, football is the way. I tried to play here and there briefly, but I always had this mentality of how else can we see sports? If I'm playing, then why can I own a team? Why can I run a team? And so that was the mentality that I had. So my first couple of years of life, I was raised, a few years of my life, I was raised by, of course, my mom, but my grandparents as well. And my grandfather had this knack of sports and politics, always talked about it, always tried to get me into it. And so beyond that time, I went on to the university there, UAPB, the University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff.
Right. You didn't have to go far, did you?
Didn't have to go far. Wanted to be initially the next great Stuart Scott. So I got into broadcast journalism. Then Phil had this knack for research. So I went and pursued a graduate degree. In between the time for my undergraduate and graduate degree, I worked as a sports producer for a couple of years, local television station. But then that master's degree professor was like, hey, you need to take your research further. If you want to talk about sports, if you want to build an understanding and create knowledge about sports and how it affects society, you need to go pursue a PhD. And so immediately I said, no way, I'm not doing that. I don't want any more school. But I went ahead and went that way anyway. And it opened up my mindset and doors in many ways because I was able to study the business side of sports, right? And how they make these decisions that impact society. And I wanted to be able to put out the research and the work that can help these organizations make better decisions. And so once I earned my PhD, my dissertation was actually working with Major League Baseball on their diversity problem, not having enough Black people in the game. And so from there, I landed my position here at Loyola Marymount back in 2016. And from that point in time, it's been pumping out the research, consulting with sport organizations about sport and social change, and the rest has been history up to this point.
That's outstanding. That is outstanding. Congratulations on an outstanding and stellar career and a diversity of things. First of all, you helped Major League Baseball determine what they needed to do to get more Black Americans into the game. What did you guys settle on? What did you come up with?
So the main thing that was the issue that they had was they had no measurement for success. Right, they created all these programs to push out to inner city youth to say, hey, we are a Major League Baseball team. You should come and join us. But without even really taking the time to understand what is it that's keeping them away. They're not talking to the communities. They're just creating things that just, how a toddler will pick up spaghetti in their hand and throw it against the wall. Some of it sticks, some of it falls. Right. That's pretty much what they were doing. And so I talked to them about how they needed to actually go into the communities, invest time, understand, not just ask 3 questions and go, but really see what is affecting the youth and the parents from not getting involved. And so it was that. And then it was also them saying that, well, we have no way of communicating to them. We don't know how to do that. Or if the kids get involved in some of these sort of little league games and practices, there was no way of understanding how it affected them afterwards. They didn't know if the kids are going to come back. They just didn't have any type of standard put in place to understand what was going on. So that was the main thing that we focused on as far as going back to them and saying, this is the problem. These are the things that you need to change. And we may see some progress. It's still murky. It's still something that's underdeveloped. But I think we got some things across to them relative to making the game more interesting.
Good.
You know, for
Good.
example.
Yeah. And I
Things
see
like
that
that.
they've done some things, and the adjustments that they've made and all of that seem to be working. To be working in terms of audience, in terms of television audience, in terms of attendance. It seems to be working. But let me ask you this, because Larry and I have had this discussion for literally years. As you may not be able to tell, you and I and Larry and I are of different generations. I know that's hard to see. As young and dynamic as I'm looking, Jeremy. But
that's it, right? That's how we do
it. I learned about baseball from my World War II era daddy. Okay. That's who introduced me to the game. How significant or not is it that young Black boys are not being introduced to the game of baseball like I was by a father or an older Black man in their lives? Is that significant, or is that just something we just kind of making up?
Well, no, that's a great point, because for me, growing up in the late 80s, you know, it was my grandfather who introduced me to the St. Louis Cardinals. So it was William McGee, Ozzie Smith, you know, and then also seeing Dwight Gooden, you know, all these players. Mm-hmm. And then it was around the 80s, the late 80s, where we
Bob Gibson, a great
right,
Bob.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And we started to see Black people go away from the game. Well, a lot of reasons were because the NBA, the NFL became more popular. Right? You were able to get more scholarships to attend college to play those games, whereas baseball, and it's still this way today, you know, takes longer to get into the game. So whereas, you know, a college basketball player, one and done. You can go to the league if you're great enough, you know.
Right.
And so you
could actually do that in baseball.
You can do that in baseball, but so you go through that minor league system. You know, after high school, you could build, but you know, then baseball players, I guess you could say the average would be around 25, 26 when they start to become, you know, very noticed.
Right.
Whereas the other, you know, players from the other leagues, maybe a couple of years earlier. So, you know, some of those things are factors, but it is significant that, you know, there aren't a lot of people, you know, focusing on, hey, son, you can play this baseball game. You become great. You actually can get paid a lot more. And, you know, you would have less injury than you would play in other sports. And so, you know, that dynamic has shifted because, again, of I believe the popularity of the NFL. You know, like right now you have the Dallas Cowboys who are winning this season, but if you're talking about the last 20 years, you know, they haven't been really a great team yet.
They've been kind of hard to love.
Right, they've been hard to love. I talk trash about them all the time to my homies who grew up in Arkansas. They're Cowboys fans.
Right.
But they're the highest value NFL team. And it's because of the marketing and the popularity of the sport that made it so. And that's not necessarily the case in baseball. It's popular. It's America's pastime. But the NFL has far surpassed that. And the NBA has become a lot more global than all the other sports. This is why, you know, you're seeing the shift. Then you're also seeing that struggle with baseball.
When we come back, I am going to tell you something that I noticed. You are listening to R&R on Sports on the Kazukian Network. We'll be back after this.
Humans Being with Kirk Whalum.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, now I'm going to say my friend, Jonathan Capehart.
You came up and tapped me on my shoulder and you said, I'm a big fan. My name's Kirk Whalum. And I just about jumped out of my skin because I was like, wait, Kirk Whalum is saying hi to me? He's a fan of mine? Get out of here.
Humans Being with Kirk Whalum.
Back for more R&R on Sports. We have the pleasure of talking to Dr. Shaun Anderson. He is a professor at Loyola Marymount University. talking about sports, of course, which he knows a whole lot about. Now, let me tell you what I have noticed, Dr. Shaun. I have noticed more pronounced swag in baseball, in professional baseball. I have noticed it, and it's very, very cool to see. They are doing certain things now that they didn't used to do. When that ball comes off the bat and they know, they're the first to know, they know it's out of here. And man, I am loving the swag and the reaction and all of that. And I think that's a very, very simple thing, but I think that helps promote the game among younger folk because younger people are into that. Younger boys particularly want more than anything else in the whole world, more than breathing almost, is to be cool and look cool.
It makes the game so much more fun. It makes it much more interesting. You know, of course, we're also in the, like you said, again, sort of the home run era.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, sir.
We're making the game live. We're making the game more interesting for a lot of people. And so that's not just your imagination. I see that as well.
Good. So let's talk about, and we want you to talk about your book. So feel free to at any point to tell us about that. Okay. But I want you to generally talk to us about how you see the significance of sports to the Black experience now, today, and especially given everything that we've been through in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Talk about its significance. Has the significance increased? What are you seeing from a clinical perspective?
So here's the main thing about that question. We are now seeing athletes who, of course, continue to engage in protests, and we still need those things when we have these challenges in our society. Mm-hmm. But what we are seeing a shift in now is the sort of move away from, or the transcendence from protests. Now seeing athletes really push for policy change and policy. And so in the book, I actually had the pleasure to talk to the president of the Vera Institute for Social Justice. And that institute was key in creating a lot of PSAs in conjunction with the NFL about, engaging in social change and criminal justice reform.
Right.
And when I talked to this president, he also talked about how so many athletes have come to him wanting to understand laws relative to criminal justice reform so they can go to the cities that they either grew up in or played for, to go talk to the judges and the lawmakers to try to make change. So we're seeing more of that, and not saying that didn't occur, of course, during the civil rights movement, but now you're seeing more and more high-profile athletes engaging from a plethora of sports. And one thing that I wanted to kind of bring that attention to, speaking of the civil rights movement and how it has affected today, many people associate sports, politics, and the Black experience only to the civil rights movement as far as like when it started. But it went back much further.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, in the book, I talk about, we're talking about maybe a decade after the Civil War, where we really saw sport and politics come into play when you had the Black jockeys who were the ones who were, riding the horses because they were the ones who used to run the stables that these horses were in.
Absolutely.
And they became what we call today the millionaire athlete in many cases. So you talk about for 20 years, they were enjoying their success, providing a socioeconomic buildup for their families. But then Plessy versus Ferguson came, 1896, separate but equal. And there they go. 10, 15 years later, they were out of the game, obsolete. And so it began that pattern over the next 100 or so years till we saw the 80s and the dormancy of athletes engaging in activism because of all the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so today is an awakening. Today's age is an awakening of these athletes recognizing, they've built the successes, they've built businesses with the money that they earned from their sports to now push for change. And that's the big significance that we're seeing today that could have been possible in the civil rights movement if they still didn't have to deal with all of that segregation and discrimination.
And a lot of people younger people particularly, don't really realize or recognize that when sport began, we were the sport. The most base thing that they would initially do is have us fight each other for their sport, okay? Then they'd have us race each other for their sport. We were the sport. So, I mean, they weren't doing that. They weren't fighting each other. They weren't racing each other. We were. So it's very, very deep-seated for us. Talk a little bit about what's happening in sport now and your perspective. And I want to start with one that's very near and dear to us. Of course, we're based out of Memphis, Tennessee. We got a little NBA team called the Memphis Grizzlies, and we got a little player that you may or may not have heard of whose name is Ja Morant. Talk about a little bit about your perspective on his travails.
Yeah, that has been a very interesting story, right? And again, it also speaks to the power of social media in sports and how messages are getting out there in our society. It certainly glamorizes and the ups and downs of the game when you have an athlete on such a rise like Ja Morant, who, then gets involved in a situation about guns. And so if you're seeing one thing about it, you're still seeing, and of course, not to say that, what happened wasn't a mistake on his part, but it's still showing us how the powers that be operate, that we don't have a say in how rules are established and how athletes are forgiven. Correct. And how athletes, in many cases, are even paid because
that's not about to change anytime soon.
Not about to change anytime soon. So again, it's showing that at some point you can be super popular. Everybody loves you, but that can go away real quick because we lack ownership, we lack management in these sports. And, again, and not to take it away from basketball, but just to give another example, the NFL have been playing a lot of games in London. They're playing a lot of games. Right. And so they got another game coming up in Germany. They're trying to get into the China market. And so, these business leaders who own these teams are just going to make a lot more money while the players are just having to go along so they can get paid. But again, where is the Black leadership, within the game, with any of these games? Magic Johnson is doing a lot, but, we need more. We need to see more. LeBron James is trying to build something, but we need to see more. We need to see more access to these things. That's what's going on in sports right now that I think needs to change. But like you say, honestly, it seems like that'll be another 10 years before we see any type of substantial progress.
Right. Talk about your book. Talk about title, what it's about, and how people might get it.
Yeah, so the book is called The Black Athlete Revolt, the Sport Justice Movement in the Age of Black Lives Matter. Is essentially a historical look at sport and politics, how we got involved with it. And it ends with, I should say this. It then goes into how the Black Lives Matter movement became the catalyst for this new wave of athlete activism. And so since in the last 5 years, we've been seeing more and more push for policy change and policy reform. It's saying that this new sport justice movement is the next wave of making our society better. It's solidifying the fact that sports has long been involved in politics and how our society moves, not just the last 60 years, but the last 160 years. And so that's been a long history in the push in this country. And so we need to finally recognize how sport is working to make a difference. It's always been a place to where we can use it to talk about all types of larger conversations on our society. And so this book dives into where we were, where we are, and where we should go.
Dr. Shaun Anderson, thank you so much for being here with us on R&R on Sports. And we're going to be coming back to you because we like to take deep dives into what's really happening. We don't do scores. We don't do any of that. We get in depth in terms of the issues of the day as it regards sports and the different perspectives, and you have a lot to add. So stick by this. This is like when the phone rings, kind of like the Cosa Nostra. The phone rings, and the answer is yes.
Absolutely.
All right, we appreciate you being with us. We will be back for more R&R on Sports right after this.
Kadzukian.
The company is based in Memphis, but it is international.
A new building, an expanded team, new equipment, a new studio, all inside of 7 years.
The resources that we were able to utilize with Kadzukian and their team has been incredible. And our partners at Kadzukian has been a large part of our success.
One, it's Black owned. So we get to tell our own stories in our own way.
With social media and the technology we have today, the world is listening.
Kadzukian. Check out all your Kadzukian favorites now. Download the Kadzukian app, available on Android and iOS.
R&R on Sports.
Back for more R&R on Sports as we head to the door. See ya. We almost done, y'all. But we always love to shout out
excellence.
Excellence. That is the word. That's the word. That's the word.
For me, that's...
And excellence, period. And we love it even more when it's Black excellence.
Absolutely.
And that is the basis for my shout out. My shout out goes to the Rich Paul.
What?
Yeah, I'm going with Rich Paul.
Why? Why Rich Paul?
Rich Paul is redefining sports as an agent as we have known it and seen it. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the one who gave him the opportunity.
Well, I look at it across the board since I'm gonna piggyback on you and give a shout out to LeBron James.
Okay.
Because I've literally not seen an athlete empower his friends like LeBron has. Mm-hmm. So you look at you can start at Rich Paul, but then you got Maverick Carter. Mm-hmm. Maverick Carter has become quite the content movie mogul in running Spring Hill. And then you got Randy Mims, who has been in team operations and been able to kind of pull things together from everywhere from Miami to Cleveland, and now he's out in LA and doing his thing there. And then you have Rich Paul. So you got three young men that have totally been empowered and been able to leverage the brand of LeBron James.
And would not have otherwise had the options and the opportunities that they gained and got as a result of their association and affiliation with LeBron James.
Man, to have a brother that rides with you that hard, I mean, because he literally got rid of the Goodwin boys as his agents. He was a rookie agent, just signed a $100 million deal with Nike, signed a big deal with Sprite. And what I heard was that the Goodwin boys would not bring Rich Paul on. So LeBron moved to CAA with Leon Rose.
Let me show you how serious I am.
What's that?
I mean, that's what he said. Let me show you how serious about this I am.
Absolutely. Moved to CAA. Then Leon Rose came to Leon Rose. Leon Rose brought Rich Paul on. Rich Paul then goes from being under Leon Rose to now he's on his own. Just did a huge deal with UTA, which is a United Talent Agency. Gave him the resources to go in and pull in Jalen Hurts' agent and the young ladies that was out there doing great work. Pulled in some MLB agents as well. And now he's literally got one of the most powerful agencies. Hey, man, I just think it's an amazing thing. And shout out to LeBron.
And allegedly married to a big white woman. And I mean that literally.
Adele.
I mean that literally and figuratively.
Absolutely. She might be the number one artist in the country right now. Outside of Taylor Swift. Outside of Taylor Swift.
Not in the country.
Well, in the world.
Yeah, there you
in
go.
The world.
There
In the
you
world.
go.
In the
There you
world.
go. All right. We appreciate you being with us here on R&R Sports and Ask on the Kazuki Network, and ask that you not change a thing. Be back with us next week, same time, same place. I'm Howard Robertson.
I'm the great one, Larry Robinson.
Y'all take care of yourselves, each other, and be careful.
Be good. Peace.
R&R is hosted by Larry Robinson and Howard Robertson. R&R is directed, produced, recorded, and distributed by Kazukian.